Do you want to grow as many tomatoes as possible and as quickly as you can? If you started your plants as early as I did and the overnight temperatures are higher than 10 degrees Celsius or 50 Fahrenheit, then it's time to get them in the ground. In this video, I'll explain how to build a structure to support your tomato plants, when and how you should plant out your tomatoes to maximise growth, and how to water them to make sure you get as many tomatoes as possible. The easiest way of making a support structure is to build a wigwam using bamboo and twine. Place the bottom of the bamboo in the triangle and tie the tops together. This kind of structure is great for shorter determinate or bush tomatoes, or growing in containers. But for vining indeterminate types, which just keep on growing, you want the tallest structure that you can get your hands on. You could try building a DIY trellis like this one, or using something stronger, like a cattle panel. However, I think building an A-frame structure and tying the plants to a string or cord is the way to go in terms of price and strength. To build this, I'm going to use bamboo poles, which I'll cut down to 2.7 meters in length, which is as high as I can reach standing on a chair. You'll need to push the thick end of the pole into the ground at a slight angle. You can use a mallet or make use of your own body weight to get it deep into the soil. Do the same on the other side so that the pair form a cross at the very top, and repeat this pattern every 4 or 5 feet along the bed. When you've got your poles in place, tie them together at the top with something strong like a cable tie or a zip tie, and then place some poles horizontally on top of those crosses and secure them. And that's the finished supports. You can increase rigidity by adding a diagonal pole and turning the square sides into triangles, but that might be unnecessary if you planted the poles deep enough. To support your plants, you can get some thick twine and tie it to the horizontal pole, and at the bottom end, form a loop and place the plant on top to create tension. Then you can tie your plants in by either winding the stem around the string or using tomato clips. Make sure that your twine is strong. Last year I had problems with my string breaking, which meant I had to run out and save the plants. So this year I'm going to try out a few other options, including an elasticated twine and some bungee cords, and we can see which perform better. We separated the poles by 4 or 5 feet because tomato plants like to be spaced 45 centimetres to 60 centimetres apart. However, the plants get really heavy later in the season, and last year I had an absolute nightmare with poles splitting and the support falling over. I've gone for thicker poles this year, but I reckon they can probably only hold 3 or 4 plants before they start bending. So I'll be planting mine 45 centimetres apart, which makes 4.5 feet per section. When you plant your tomato plants, you're going to want to do 2 things to maximise growth. The first is to bury the stem up to the first true leaf. These hairs up the side will turn into roots when exposed to wet soil, which helps the plant grow quicker. Some people will go further and bury as much of the stems as possible, even burying the plant on its side to encourage as many roots as possible to form. Another thing I've seen people do is place an egg under their tomato plants. Eggs act as slow-release fertiliser, giving the plant access to a small reservoir of nutrients. Nitrogen, which is found inside the proteins inside the egg, enables faster plant growth, while the calcium found in the shell means better fruiting. I happen to have a small flock of chickens that produces far more eggs than I could possibly eat. So this year I'm going to experiment and bury eggs under my plants too. However, I'm going to do so very deeply because it might smell a bit otherwise. So to plant your tomato plants, dig a hole, optionally place an egg inside, break it a little to help it decompose, then place a loop of twine inside, then place a tomato plant on top and firm in with some compost, being sure to bury the stem either up to the first true leaf or beyond. Remember to prune regularly and to give the roots a good watering every few days, otherwise you run the risk of getting blossom end rot. This can be for a few reasons, but inconsistent watering is one of them. And to avoid other diseases like tomato blight, you should avoid getting the leaves wet when you water your plants. If you want to try and stop this from happening and make watering effortless in the process, then you can bury a soaker hose in the ground, which I explained how to do in this video here. Otherwise, as always, happy gardening.